Good morning.
We're learning Mishna Kesubos, Parak Test, Chapter 9, Mishnah Hey, Mishnah 5. Okay, now we learned in the previous Mishnah that in certain circumstances a wife can be made to swear that she did not steal from her husband, right? That was yesterday's Mishnah. Furthermore, there are situations where a wife cannot collect her ksuba without swearing either to her husband or to his heirs she was not already paid. Okay, we had a case like that before. There'll be other cases that where she wants to collect her ksuba, she's going to need to swear beforehand that she didn't already get paid. Our Mishnah is going to deal with a husband who basically wants to say that I am declaring that you are not required to do so. So the Mishnah reads, Kasav la, if he wrote to her, which means even if he said to her, Neder ushavua ein li alecha, a vow or an oath I do not have upon you. Meaning, that any of the times that we've been talking about that she would have to swear, he is declaring you do not need to do that. I am now declaring that I exempt you basically from any kind of oath that I could have made in the future regarding things in the house, regarding the ksuba. If he goes ahead and he makes that kind of declaration, ein yachal ashbia, he cannot make her swear anymore. He has basically absolved her of any of those obligations, and therefore he can't go back and make her swear. Now, the wording of the Mishnah is, he wrote to her a vow or an oath I don't have upon you. Now, we discussed cases where she would have to make an oath. She'd have to swear to the fact that she didn't get her ksuba. Sometimes she has to make that oath. She makes that oath to her husband, to his heirs. And again, we had the oath yesterday about about making her swear regarding taking household items she didn't have permission to take, and under what circumstances that could be made. But the discussion was always a shvua, an oath. It was never a neder, never a vow. And it's important to know what this means here in the concept of a vow. Now, when we talk about a neder, which we translate as a vow is something that the Torah gives you the ability to impose on an object that it's forbidden, which means, like you say, I hereby make a neder that apples are forbidden to me. So you have imposed a prohibition on an object. A shua, an oath, is where you basically declare something about yourself. When you make an oath, you say, a shua, an oath, applies to a deed. For example, I hereby make a shua that I will eat an apple, or that I did not eat an apple, or that I paid, or that I didn't pay. A shvua is basically where you are making a promise of sorts regarding an act. You are making an oath regarding an act. A neder is what you make on an object. So in our context, that the question was that she had to swear that she didn't already get paid her ksuba. So what does she have to do? She has to make an oath. She has to make an oath regarding herself, regarding a deed, that she did not take the ksuba money yet. Okay? Where does the neder come in? Where does the vow come in? What does vows got to do anything here? And the answer is that besides for making an oath, there's another thing you can do. And that is, a person can say it like this. Listen to this carefully. I hereby make a neder that all the produce in the world is forbidden to me if I was paid. Now that's a different way of saying I wasn't paid. But instead of saying directly I wasn't paid, you basically say, if I was paid, then all these things should become forbidden to me. That's a pretty serious thing. That's another way of basically confirming, of declaring, what about the point that you want to make. Now, it happens to be that to break an oath is worse than breaking a vow. Meaning, if you make an oath in vain, you say I was paid and you didn't. Right? That was an oath in vain. If you say that all these things should be forbidden on me, if I was paid and you really were paid, so all these things should be forbidden, and you waited anyway. That's a serious thing, but it's not as serious as an oath that was made in vain, and therefore, or a false oath. And therefore, there were times, as not discussed in this Masechta, but there are times that instead of making her make a shua, make an oath, we make her make a neder, make a vow, like we just said. And therefore, this husband is saying to her, I exempt you from any of it. Whether it's a neder, whether it's a vow, all of these things I say from now on, I don't have it on you. I basically give up those rights to demand an oath, and if that's what happens, okay, he can't make her swear anymore. Avo, the Mishnah continues, but mashbiahu es yarsheha es abayim b'shusa. But he can make her heirs swear, or those who come in her place. That means like this. Let's say the husband owed her a ksuba. He divorced this woman, he owed her a ksuba, right? She went ahead and she died before she collected it. So she had a right to collect, but she died. Who collects it then? Her heirs will collect it. If the heirs come, he can make them swear that they are not aware that their mother received a ksuba. He only exempted her from an oath. He didn't exempt people who come because of her. Her heirs he didn't exempt, he exempted her. And therefore, when the heirs come to try to collect the ksuba, the same thing happens. He can make them, not the same thing. He actually has the ability to make them swear to the fact that she did not yet get a payment for that. They have to basically swear that they don't know, right, that she got paid. They didn't find any in her papers that she got paid. There's no receipt or anything like that. She never told them anything like that. And then they would have the ability to go ahead and to collect from her, to collect from him. Okay, so that's what it means about mashbiahu is yarsheha. He can make her heirs swear the es habayim b'shusa. It can also make swear those who come in her place. Now, what does that mean? That means that let's say this woman, she made this business deal. She sold her ksuba to somebody else. She sold her ksuba. She sold the ksuba rights to somebody else.
You can do that?
Sure, you could do that. Now, what does it mean? It means that if the husband, let's say, divorces her or dies, and the payment should go to her, where's the payment going to go to? To the buyers, okay? Now, let's say it comes out that she dies. Let's say they weren't divorced, and she dies before the husband. So there's no ksuba payment. So what happens to the buyers? Tough luck. They lost out. That's the chances they take. When somebody buys a ksuba, he does it with the risk that if she dies first, that they're not going to get nothing. But if he dies first or he divorces her, the ksuba payment will go to them. Now, in the Mishnah here means that although he exempted her from making any kind of oath, just as we said before, her heirs are not exempt from making an oath when it's necessary to make an oath that the ksuba wasn't paid. The buyers are the same thing. The buyers are going to come now and going to say, hey, we bought the ksuba from her and we're collecting it. You want to collect it, the husband says? Make an oath. You got to swear. You have to swear that, again, as far as you know, that this was not paid up yet. And then they'd be able to go ahead and to make that collection. So that is what the first part of this Mishnah means. The Mishnah continues. If he says, Neder ushavua ein li alayach val yarshayach, a vow or an oath I do not have on you, nor on your heirs, nor on those who come in your place. He says straight out. He's not just talking about her. He says straight out. The heirs, the buyers. He no more has the ability to make her or her heirs or those who come in her place, referring to the buyers, he cannot make them swear. Let's say the case is he died, meaning he had to pay a ksuba, and he died. That means now his property that now went to the heirs, she wants to come collect from it. She has the right to collect. It was pledged in her husband's lifetime. But the rule is that once the husband is dead and you're only dealing with heirs, and those heirs don't really know their father's business dealings, and they don't know whether perhaps this ksuba had already been paid up even in the lifetime, then it comes out that they have to swear to the heirs. Absolved the rule. You want to collect from an heir, you got to swear to the fact. And therefore, even though he went ahead and he absolved his ability to make anybody swear, that doesn't automatically absolve his heirs. So therefore, his heirs can make her swear, or her heirs, or those who come in her place. Because when he exempted her regarding him, not regarding those who come because of him. Now, neder ushavuya eli, a vow or a oath, I do not have, meaning I have no more rights. Neder ushavuya eli, I have no rights to demand a vow or an oath. Nor do my heirs or anybody who comes because of me. Now, what does it mean, those who come because of me, when it comes from the husband's point? There, the point is like this. There, the point is that, as we've said, if a person's properties are pledged, let's say towards the ksuba. So let's say the husband sold a piece of land, and now it's time for the ksuba to be paid up, and there's nothing to pay up from besides for that land that was sold to somebody else. Since that land was pledged to somebody else, does the wife have the ability to go and take that land from the buyer? Yes, she does. But guess what? She'd have to make a shvuah to the fact. She'd have to make an oath to that fact. Here he says straight out that, again, I don't have nor my heirs, nor those who come because of me. Anybody that's coming because of me has no right to demand an oath or a vow, alayich, regarding you, val yershayich, regarding your heirs, val aboyim b'rshuseich, or those who come because of you. He covered all his bases. All the possibilities that could have been, he covered them. And that we say, and yachal ashbia, he may not make her swear, loyhu, not he, but yarshav, not his heirs, loyboim b'rshusay, not those who come in his place, loyasa, not her, loyarsha, not her heirs, loyaboim b'rshusa, nor the people who come because of her. So basically, what he's done here is that he has absolved him or anybody who comes from him, from her, anybody who comes from her. Unless he says these things explicitly, we can only assume that he exempted those mentioned. Those not mentioned, he did not absolve. He did not absolve him or regarding them. But once he says them all, he specifically exempts himself or anybody who comes from him from making an oath, making her and anybody who comes from her to make an oath or a vow. It works, and no one can demand any kind of oath or vow before they collect. They can just, as long as they have their basically documentation that they have the right to collect, then they can do so. Have a wonderful day. So tomorrow there will not be a Mishnah class. The Mishnah class will resume Ritz Hashem Sunday, Tzem Gedalia, after Shabbat Shabbat. Have a wonderful day. To everyone. Happy, healthy New Year, year of Simchas, Nachas, and good health.